too. I think there was a scene where you see the part that's exploded, but there's also this whole other section of the city that's the rest of it.
And in the, instead of the football game that we got in the comics, we got a wrestling match. And if we could have gotten a big football game in a big stadium, that would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Would have been awesome. Yeah.
Oh, it was football in the comics. I haven't read past issue 100. So I didn't know any of this. So I don't know. I'm going to do that too. Looking forward to that too, is being able to finish the comics. I stopped on purpose. Like as soon as Negan killed Glenn in the comics, I was out. Like that's where I stopped.
Yeah, that was rough.
I'm glad you didn't feel that way about the TV show.
No, but a lot of people did.
There was a
very sharp decline after that, for sure.
Like half at least. All right, I think we're back to Chris.
Yeah, sure.
For our final points on this.
All right. Well, I'll back it up again a little bit and just talk about the middle 8 episodes briefly. We've sort of talked about the first 8 and the Commonwealth stuff there, but the middle 8, as I said before, were the ones that before I started looking back at the episodes, I wasn't sure what happened during those 8 episodes. I could remember some things, but I'm like, was that in the beginning or was that in episode like 20? I'm not sure.
That's like my 30s. I'm trying to remember my 30s. Yeah, I think that happened in my 30s. All the interesting stuff happened in my 20s. But yeah. Anyway, go on. Right. I didn't mean to derail you.
No, that's fine. So the middle 8 episodes were Jason's 30s, and there was a lot. Some stuff was going on, I guess.
Well, yeah, I got married in my 30s. Shit.
No, you did.
Every day was
the same. I think I was in my late 30s. Anyway, go on.
That's impossible. I've been married 22 years, and you have not, and you are 50.
Yeah, I know. We'll do the math later. Numbers
we'll
are hard. We know that.
Okay, I guess it's not impossible. Not when you were 30. Anyways, so the middle 8 episodes. It was kind of here's some things that happened. It was sort of like getting used to life in the Commonwealth a little bit before we knew really what was going on. We had Rosita and Daryl doing their soldier training. We had other people having some jobs. We had, of course, that big fancy dress ball party where just the seeds of the descent were revealed with what's his name? Can't remember his name right now. Tyler, that's right. Thank you. Rosita finds that room filled with the resistance propaganda, which of course was a big part of the rest of the season. But I was kind of surprised we never saw that room again.
Eat the rich.
It was just in there, to give us the idea that something was going on. We, of course, had all the Eugene and fake Stephanie stuff, which
the noir.
Again, I knew was there, but I couldn't quite place. We had Hornsby visiting the opium farm, which is an episode I completely just forgot about. Pamela and Hornsby touring the communities, trying to make a deal. Maggie won't do it. They go on that hunting trip together, all of which was sort of to reveal that kind of what Hornsby's plan was to take over these 3 communities and run them himself. And then we had the episode at Riverbend, which was Carlson and
that my God,
mission
that dude
to retrieve those stolen supplies. And then that group, another group of like religious followers kind of there, led by Ian, who again I had to look that up, but we had 2 full episodes of that. And then, of course, at the end of that, it's revealed that Leah is the one who killed some troopers and stole the supplies, or at least intercepted the supplies. We also had the Sebastian money stuff, going after some money. And then finally, episode 16 was Acts of God, which involved the locusts, and where Maggie and Leah had their great fight and where he kills her, Daryl does. And we have Connie publish the expose on Pamela in the newspaper Inside the Commonwealth, which really is the start of the revolution. So all that being said, I think it was a lot of kind of setting the stage for things, just putting things in the right places, revealing to the audience little bits of what was going on here and there. And all said and done, I think my favorite bit about the middle 8 episodes was actually that bit at Riverbend where they were dealing with that Ian's group and trying to figure out what was going on there. And I liked it because that story was told in a little bit more complex a way, I thought. A little bit nonlinear. We jumped back. We see Hornsby manipulating Carlson with his former alcoholism and what he had to do, and then the brutality of pushing people off the roof, I thought was kind of fun in the moment. We had, inside this building, we had Negan doing some stuff, other characters hiding and running away, and the episode where the guy shows up on the horse at Hilltop, and that alerts Lydia and them to something that's going on, but they don't really know what's up yet. And so just the way it was told, I think it was done pretty well. But overall, I think the middle 8 didn't really do a whole lot else for me, just kind of set some other stuff up. But I don't know if you guys felt differently about some of those episodes.
I just want, since you two rewatched, for me, I was sort of on the fence about whether it took too long for full-on rebellion to happen in the Commonwealth. It felt like it was about to happen for a long time. And so on rewatch, did that seem like you were kind of like, come on, hurry this up, or not?
On rewatch, I think, a little bit. But again, because I knew it was coming, I felt like it needed to hurry up a little bit. I wouldn't call it wheel spinning, but it was definitely stage setting, I guess.
A lot of stage
getting things into the right place to make this stuff happen, or just making us aware of things, little bits here and there, of, there's a rebellion happening, but we'll get to that later, or, something like that.
You kind of do need, it's not like rebellions just happen.
No.
You need a lot of things to
That's very
wrong,
true.
Yeah.
And maybe if we didn't have 8 episodes of the first group of Reapers, they could have spread this out, or I don't want to say they should have spread it out more, but given us more over a longer period of time to make it feel a little bit more organic, I think.
Yeah, I find the river bit, Jessica called it River Run at the weekend, and I keep calling it River Run by accident.
See,
and being
that's
like,
Game
when
of
they
Thrones.
did that,
Yeah.
I was like, when they did the Game of Thrones crossover, I was like, well, this got weird. Riverbend was interesting to me because my suspension of disbelief for that is that Negan could live in that community. Like, Negan could live under that dude. Like, I don't buy it for a second. But it was a cool set piece in the apartment block. I enjoyed that very much. I liked the pressure it put on Maggie to trust Negan, and his scene with Herschel was very good. Mm-hmm. The vibes in that first scene where we kind of see the unveiling of why Carson, is that the guy's name?
Carlson.
Carlson.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what an absolute lunatic. Of Carlson and the way he approaches it as this kind of white savior missionary going out to the wilds was quite interesting, and I feel that maybe tied in with bigger questions that the show was asking about conquering and how we deal with communities and difference and things like that. But it got kind of plot wise, I was the same as you, Chris, when it came to the middle 8. I was like, what happened here? And there were some plot things where I was like, I don't remember. Why are they here? What does he actually want? Oh yeah, the weapons. But we never find out where the weapons were actually going, do we?
No, and that was just one of those things where at some point Lance made a reference to other deals he had on the go, or other relationships with other communities, and I think we're just supposed to chalk it up to that. But no, they were just there strictly for to be stolen and create this conflict.
I mean, I just presume, and maybe I'm wrong with the details, but with my hazy memory of it all and knowing that we never really got clear answers to that Lance just had to be wheeling and dealing to get weapons for the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing.
I wonder if he was sending them to Oceanside for the takeover of Oceanside. But I don't know. Anyway, by the by, it's the nitty and the gritty, but yeah.
A lot with Lance was that he was doing the dirty work outside that needed to be done, like getting that opium in order to make painkiller medication. And you also need weapons, which is kind of why I thought that had something to do with that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think those middle 8 could have been compressed a little bit. But you make a good point, Jason, about how you need to see some of these things because a revolution doesn't just happen. So,
I mean, we had Tyler's, he was stuck in this position where he couldn't pay for his sister's medical bills or something anymore. Right. And people in debt, and Sebastian, this entitled kid was sending people to their deaths to get him money. That was like a big thing once that came out that helped bring things along. And Lance was providing people to him that he could leverage because they were in debt. Like that girl April, she was in debt and said someone just showed up at her house and said, hey, I can help you get out of this. And so there was just all this injustice going on that piled up and then Connie started publishing it all in the papers. And so it just took, I think it in a way felt kind of realistic because it just takes a lot of things piling on and for people to find out about it all until finally they're just like pissed off enough to actually do something, you know?
Yeah.
Because if it would have happened too easily,
kick in the ass they need to rise up,
I guess.
Could be.
Okay.
All right.
Jason.
So we've kind of gone through 3 of the ones I have already, but one thing I wanted to talk about quickly is I wanted to talk about Leah. And this is mainly a retraction from our podcast, because there was on one of our last podcasts about this show, I think it was a feedback show, we had a listener write in and say, whatever happened to Leah? Leah, is she going to show up on the show again? And Chris and I just jumped right on board and said, yeah, she might show up in France. She might show up here. And then after the podcast ended, Chris messaged me and said, Leah's dead. So we fucked that up. And I just wanted to call that out. So to make sure that everybody knows that Chris and I messed up, and it happens all the time because we have the best listeners in the entire world. Sorry to tell you, but they
some of them listen to both podcasts. So
some of them do. Those are the best of the best.
Those are the very best. Yeah.
But yeah, so if you want specific numbers, I went back and looked. So the Talking Dead episode 613 at 1 hour and 9 minutes, we talked about Leah being alive and maybe showing up in France with Daryl and all kinds of good stuff about that. But she actually died in that Acts of God episode 16 at 36 minutes 49 seconds. Just so if you want to go back and
at Daryl's hand,
relive the whole thing and the embarrassment that I particularly feel. Chris doesn't feel embarrassed ever, so that's fine.
Oh, I feel bad. How dare we make a mistake?
Yeah, but I just wanted to call
of that
out.
magnitude.
Yeah. So yeah, nobody's perfect, especially me and especially Chris.
Right.
One thing I've learned about podcasting is it's a way to broadcast your flaws and then hear about them.
Yeah. We're just 2 guys talking on the internet, you know? What do you expect?
Yeah.
Lucy?
Okay, for me, my third point for this one will be, I thought one of the MVPs of this season overall was Eugene. And it really stood out to me when I was rewatching it how central he is to the story and all the things that he goes through during this arc of the 11th season. I had meant to message one of our listeners, Megan Dively-Lehman, who I think made a really good argument on one of our live reaction podcasts that Eugene is actually the reason everything happens in The Walking Dead. Jason, you're better at explaining this than me maybe, but I think essentially Eugene's the reason they find Alexandria because they're trying to get to DC. He's the reason that they win the Savior War because he fucks up the weapons. And he's the reason that they find the Commonwealth because he's on the radio to Stephanie. And that was kind of mind-blowing when I started thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, he is one of the most important characters. And it's funny because I, throughout the podcast, have been very ambivalent about Eugene. I don't warm to him easily. I find him quite an aggravating character, and occasionally his dialogue will raise a smile, but aside from that, I'm quite cold towards him. But this season that changed for me, and I really felt that a lot of it was the fact that Josh McDermott, whether he is an excellent actor or just excellent at being Eugene, who knows, but I thought he really just aced it. This whole season, I thought, I was laughing rewatching it quickly because I realized Eugene's in prison a lot in this season. Like, he spends a lot of time getting into quite a lot of trouble. And I think a lot of the things that he embodies in terms of being quite cowardly, but being brave despite that. He stands up to Daryl at one point. Like, he tries to punch his way past Daryl to get to the woman that he loves. I think we saw with Eugene, sometimes in the past, it's just been, well, he's a bit of a blithering wimp, but you see nuance to him in this season that you don't get in earlier seasons. And I loved in his Commonwealth intro, there was a smash cut where they're like, how the hell am I supposed to remember which zip codes I lived at? And Eugene's like, from 1983 to 1984 I resided at. And I was like, of course he does, of course he knows that. And yeah, his bravery before he's like sentenced, his willingness to stand up for what he believes in, and getting Max out of trouble. And I think I really enjoyed him in the two particular things. I really liked the noir episode. I liked the Michael Cudlitz directed episode where we find out about fake Stephanie, but also the reveal at the end of the real Max. And those scenes in the finale with Rosita were just so sad and good, like just wonderful. And I think the way that he played the heartbreak and the betrayal and the intrigue in the noir episode was just excellent. And yeah, I never would have thought I would be saying this, but to me, he was one of the standout characters and performers of the final season. I don't think it would have been the same without him and his investment in it all. So like, he finally won me over after 11 seasons. I'm like, all right, Eugene can stay. That's cool.
That scene with Eugene and damn it, I'm bad with names. What's her eyebrows?
Rosita.
Thank you, Chris. Chris knows. So between Eugene and Rosita at the end, I mentioned it on our podcast, and I still believe that it's probably one of the best scenes that the show has ever had.
Oh yeah,
it was one of the most powerful scenes that in the show in its entire run. I can't think off the top of my head if I've seen a particularly better scene, but this is definitely on the top 5 or at least 6 things that my TV has ever shown me. And, it was absolutely phenomenal, and he did an amazing job.
Imagine watching it in a theater with 100 Walking Dead fans all crying together.
Yeah, I'd be bawling. Yeah, I kind of, if I wanted to be there, I would have definitely been there. But I don't like to leave my house.
Yeah, we get it. I'm just saying, like, that last episode was so emotional, and I wasn't sure how much of that was just being in the theater with everybody, but then when I watched it on my own, I felt just
it's such a
much,
quiet grief scene, and that sense of like, for anyone who's dealt with grief or inevitable death, or the like, someone you love is going to go through something that is going to lead to them dying. The way he's bargaining and trying to think of oh my god, it was beautiful, really beautiful.
It was extremely well written, because he figures out that she's been bitten and is dying without her having to say it. They have a conversation about
that thing about no dialogue I was talking about earlier is or less dialogue is good here too.
They have a conversation about doing stuff next summer and having Coco learn to swim and all that, and then she just kind of looks at him and he knows. So,
and you know what though, I think he suspected because he kept he was saying that right, we're gonna have next summer, right, kind of like that.
Very subtle way. It was a great way to bring up the topic and not get her defensive. It was just brilliant writing and very well acted.
And Christian Serratos, oh my god,
she's my MVP of the season. And not just because of the finale, but the finale was a big part of it too.
Mm-hmm. That moment where she says, "I'm still right here." Oh my god! Every time I'm gone, I'm like,
and I think 2 more good examples of Angela Kang doing really great job with these characters, Rosita and Eugene. Like 11 seasons, and finally Eugene was a character you could get behind and really like. And
I haven't always liked Rosita that much either.
Not always, no, but both of them were fantastic here. I think they toned down the Eugene manner of speaking a little bit, just enough to make it a little more tolerable. But I never thought of the idea, Lucy, that everything that's happened on this show is because of him.
It's Megan. It's Megan's theory. It's mind blowing, isn't it?
I was like, kind of mind blowing.
Like Jason told me it on air, and I was like, no. And then I was like, it's right. It kind of is right.
And with Eugene, for me, the reason it has been harder to connect with him as a character is because his dialogue is just inhuman. Nobody talks that way, and it just seems like so stilted, and it's kind of amusing, but it feels like he's came from some other universe. And so I think maybe they did tone it down some here, and that helped, but it's also just a testament to the storytelling and his acting that I think he kind of overcame that,
I think so. Yeah, in the courtroom scenes and everything, when he stood up and made his speech, like it was very Eugene, but it wasn't totally out there, and you got the point of what he was saying, and it was important stuff, and you understood what was going on, so
you felt the emotion behind it.
You did. Absolutely. I liked how they incorporated his entire history into that little speech he made about how he got to where he was, and the people that helped him get there and what he had to do. So,
well, in my opinion, that whole speech was a message to Mercer, because he wanted Mercer to start the rebellion, and he was sort of comparing his own story to Mercer's and how one person can overcome their whatever and make a difference, and Mercer's like, all right.
One person can overcome their terrible haircut and get a good life. It's fantastic though. It just, that whole scene with Mercer was incredible, and I know a few people are like, he and Max have no chemistry, and I'm like, yeah, but they're kind of cute. Like, there's a scene where
I think they do.
He comes over to see her, and she's pissed that because you would be pissed if someone didn't realize that wasn't you, even though you've never met. You'd be like, why would you think that was me? And they have this little banter about the sci-fi book he's writing, and he's like, of course I wouldn't do that, it's too obvious. And she's like, don't tell me you wrote this trope. And I was just like, oh, I'm kind of rooting for these guys.
Yeah, I think that conversation about the book went a long way, actually, to showing us a little bit of chemistry that they had. I never really didn't believe it.
No, I like it. Yeah, I like them.
Too. Yeah, I liked
it. They can stay.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. My last one is going to be Judith and the other kids.
No, Judith.
We got more this season with the kids, Herschel, RJ, Gracie, little Coco, and of course Judith. And we had early on, they were sitting around the table talking about how their parents always leave and say they'll be back and we'll be fine. And one of the kids says, yeah, they say that just so they can feel better more than anything about us, or something like that, which is kind of funny. And then they have to eat horse meat because they're starving and desperate. But Herschel, they're all squeamish except for Herschel, who's had it really tough with Maggie. And he's like, don't worry about it. So that was cute.
I forgot that's a good scene.
Yeah. Then, Herschel comes face to face with Negan. That was pretty great. Like, why doesn't my mom like you? Because of something that happened a long time ago. Was it something bad? Yeah, it was something bad. Are you a bad man? I was. Then Herschel points the gun at him. My mom told me a bad man killed my dad. That was you, wasn't it?
I love that.
It's kind of a good scene.
Yeah.
Negan convinces him not to fire because they're hiding. That's when they're hiding from Lance's guys. But he's like, you and I, we have some unfinished business, don't we? I'll tell you what, you go back with your mom, help her rebuild your home. In a few years, when you've grown up a bit, come find me. I promise we'll settle it. So I presume there's the possibility that will be followed up in the Negan series, maybe.
I hope so, because I
would think so.
I want to see some resolution to that. Come back in a few years and see if you still feel this way. I think
the Negan Maggie series is only 2 years ahead, but maybe they'll do some more time jumps or something.
They'll just recast Herschel as like a full-grown adult. Be like, oh, he grew.
Yeah.
Judith, Kaylee Fleming is so good. She's strong but open-hearted. She's a role model to the other kids, teaching them how to use swords and things, and has this commanding presence. But she's also worried about Michonne a lot, and she's bullied by the other kids at one point. And I loved how Rosita comforted her when they razzed her about her mom abandoning her. Rosita told a story about her own family. That was a nice little bond. And then Virgil sees Judith making Gracie feel better about something. And Virgil, of course, was the last one to see Michonne. And she says she'd be proud of you. He says she'd be proud of you. And she goes, do you know where she went? I don't. I'm sorry. Well, I haven't heard from her in so long. I just wish you were here. She is. I see her in the way you hold your sword, the way you're ready to run into the storm, and how you talk to those kids, helping them believe in themselves. Your mom is still with you, and you can bet wherever she is, you're with her. And at that point, I'm like, okay, Virgil's great.
Yeah. Redemption for Virgil.
Thinking back on him now, I'm like, it wasn't so bad after all.
Yeah. And then she, like, after that, chops Zed's arm off and stabs it in the face just like Michonne would. So she, I love that. And then Daryl and Judith.
Oh,
I never would have thought I'd have enjoyed a story where Daryl gets a 9-to-5 job and has custody of 2 kids. I loved it.
Yeah.
It really worked.
So much of this season was about parenting and the journey of parenting, and it was something that came out really strongly watching it close together. It's like, oh, everyone's navigating an element of parenting here.
And when she ran away from him all pissed off about something, and he found her and told her about when he used to run away from his dad and go out into the river behind his house, and she wanted to stay at the Commonwealth, but he wanted to leave it. And I love that moment because he's there for her and telling her he loves her and everything, but he's still firm. Like, I got to keep you safe. We're going to have to leave still. I just thought that was a great moment.
I also thought it was very believable that Judith wouldn't want to go, because if all you've known all your life is garbage, then like being somewhere where like you have friends but then she's very nice about it. She's like, I want to help these people, but also I'd be like, I also want ice cream and to not live in a shithole.
She's like Rick in the comics, who recognizes there's problems with this place but still thinks it's something worth preserving and helping to make better. And then the end was supposed to be all the kids 10 years later. I'm sure you guys talked about that on your podcast. They filmed a scene with older actors and one strapping young kid wearing the hat saying, "This is Rick Grimes," into the radio because he's Rick Grimes Jr. So I think they were sort of building to that, but then decided not to use it as the ending, which is fine. I'm kind of glad they didn't. But then last about these kids is Judith's voiceovers, which were great. And I said this a few times on the podcast, but I thought they each did 3 things. They reminded us of key iconic Walking Dead moments over the years for some like nostalgia as the series coming to the end, like Rick in the hospital bed, Daryl on his chopper, just Governor, older characters, Sophia and everything. That one with a signature weapon. So all this Walking Dead goodness. They reminded us of where particular characters have been, like their backstories that we're going to feature in that particular episode. Like Eugene admitting he's not a scientist. I'm not a scientist. And Abraham punching him, and then there's a story about Eugene. And also they all focused on a particular theme of The Walking Dead, like importance of found family, or how you may have had to do dark things, but can you come back from that, or the importance of remembering and honoring people who've been lost. So I just thought all those voiceovers, even though it didn't quite make sense for them to come from Judith's point of view, I still really loved them because it felt like the show was celebrating The Walking Dead at the beginning of each episode,
I liked them as well. And one thing I intended to do or thought about doing is going back and like running them all together as a single monologue and seeing if it worked sort of start to finish. Because I have a feeling it might, but I never got around to doing it. So I still might do it. But I think they worked really well too. And they did have, they were multi-purpose like that, which I really appreciated. But you're right. She was too young to experience almost all of the stuff early on or, not born. But I don't think she was a terrible choice for the character to deliver those monologues and remind us of what had happened.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of things. Daryl says that he's going to tell her the stories of all the people that loved her. And I like to think in my head that's how she's able to reflect back on it. But I don't think I don't think they earned that in what they did, if that means like that's I'm choosing to think that
one time Eugene watched Rosita and Abraham have sex
in a library. It was great.
I was wondering how we were going to bring that up, and if I would have to, but I'm glad it came up organically.
There were two kid things that I liked. One was, I noticed, because Jason and I kind of aren't always nice about RJ, or I'm not always nice about RJ, but I noticed when I was rewatching that they're doing some RJ like reputation salvation. RJ's getting put up a couple of grades. That we find that out when someone's like, you got 2 kids in school, one of them getting put up a couple of grades. I'm like, oh, he reads comics. And the other thing that cracked me up rewatching it, Jason, was that scene with Herschel being held by the trooper. And Maggie comes in and just like immediately shoots the trooper. But Jason told me the last time we recorded that like you put the captions on and the trooper's saying like, "Jesus, kid, you talk so much."
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe he was just babysitting.
Yeah,
and,
I know. Please shut up.
Came in and shot him in the head.
I know. Shut up. Stop talking, please.
Just trying to get him to take a nap, and now I'm dead.
Right. Just made me laugh. And it's so like, I don't know, there's something very Glenn about that, like just chatting away, like being like really like nah, 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 and the guy being like, "God, just shut up." So yeah, that really made me laugh when I was rewatching it. Not for the guy, I mean, per him, per Commonwealth babysitter.
Yeah. That was my last point. We usually do like a notes segment where we have random notes. Do you guys have anything like that?
I don't really have any notes, but I did want to say one more thing that I just thought of about the Judith monologues. I don't know how much detail I'll go into, but her being told stories by Daryl and stuff like that reminds me a lot of something from the final issue of the comic, actually.
Yes.
I don't know if I should say what that is, but I like it even more now when I think about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think that was a really good addition to those final episodes.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know okay. You don't.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just want to mention a couple of shorter things before we wrap this part. There were so many great connections, friendships, couples that you really felt the bond. A lot of love this season with couples. Mercer and Princess was great. Yeah. Max and Eugene, Magna and Yumiko.
Love them.
Lydia and Elijah, Luke and Jules, and I thought even Annie and Negan. I know not everyone liked that, but just because the actress was so great, and I thought they had good chemistry. With friendships, Daryl and Carol, of course, Carol and Ezekiel, Aaron and Lydia was a kind of newer one this season that worked really well. Rosita and Gabriel, Daryl and Judith, Rosita and Judith had some good moments. Gabriel and Aaron are always great. Ezekiel and Jerry and Connie and Kelly, Pamela and Zombie Lance. No, I'm just kidding.
We call them Lancela.
And yeah, I guess that's enough.
We'll Sebastian and Nobody.
No, yeah, Sebastian and Lance's coin.
Yeah.
Jason, we've been podcasting too long. I've got a list of all the pairings here that I thought were good too. Shit. So I've just been ticking them off. I'm like, yeah, agree.
Did I miss any? No.
No. I've got a couple of little notes as well, Jason, when you're done. So.
Okay, yeah. I'm done.
I noted all the fucks. Because I thought it was interesting that they were like,
this season sets a record for fucks, for sure.
I got 4 on my rewatch, but I'm sure I've missed some. So I got obviously Mercer's Time to Fuck Shit Up.
I have a list of 7 in front of me, Lucy.
Okay, great, awesome.
You can do the
okay,
one she doesn't. Yeah.
So I've got Mercer Time to Fuck Shit Up. I've got Daryl saying to Pamela when she saves Lance's life, "Do what you fucking gotta do." Which I think the fucking should come after gotta fucking do. I think that's a weird way of saying, but anyway. I've got Princess saying fuck that thinking when she's sticking up for herself with Mercer. And Daryl saying that was the fucking problem to Pamela when he's telling her why the Commonwealth didn't work because they'd structured it like it was before. What did I miss?
So the other ones I wrote down are Daryl when Lance has been questioning little Herschel, and nobody's happy with that. They all raise their guns, and Daryl goes, "Tell them to drop their guns before something really fucking bad happens."
Yes.
that was my favorite one, to be honest. I thought he delivered that line so well.
Yes.
At the beginning of the episode called Outpost 22, after her, Rosita and Father Gabe, they've crashed out of the convoy and they wake up on the side of the road. They hear some troopers on the radio, and Rosita just kind of whispers, "Fuck."
Oh yeah.
Like that. She's upset about things. Negan.
I've just remembered this one, but yes, you do it.
He has 2. He's got 2 others. When he's talking to Annie because they want to send him into the Commonwealth because they've never seen his face, he says to Annie, "Besides, I'm fucked either way." And then the final episode, when he sees a zombie climb up onto the top of a vehicle, he just like front and center, "What the fuck?" So,
that was a good one.
That was, amazing. All really good. Yes, I enjoyed very much the expansion of the F word on this show this season.
Too.
I don't think they overdid it. There was almost one per episode.
Yep.
They could have really overdone it, but I kind of wish they were able to do this throughout.
I wish they'd gone back.
It's the zombie fucking apocalypse.
It's the fucking zombie apocalypse.
I also feel like, Negan from the comics needed to say fuck. I feel like that. I just like
he should have said fuckity fuck at some point. To be honest,
the fuckity fuck. Yeah, no, good.
Yeah, but if anyone ever needed any justification for why you should have a podcast dedicated to a show, I think the last 10 minutes.
I'm gonna list all the times they said fuck.
All right. Well, that is the first half of our countdown. Don't forget to check out the second half on Talking Dead Podcast, which you can find at talkingdeadpodcast.com. We're going to have some listener feedback and some zombie poetry and prose by artificial intelligence after this on this
That's
podcast.
That's going to be fun.
But I wanted to ask you before we say goodbye to you guys, what are your podcasting plans after this?
We're going to keep her going. We are going to continue podcasting about the Walking Dead universe. We've covered every show. The next one to come back will be Fear, the Walking Dead, which we all know is absolutely god-awful.
Wait, I thought Negan was before Fear. Fear comes first?
I think Fear Season 8 comes first, and then... I'm pretty sure it'll start in the spring, and I don't think there's anything before that.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Yeah.
Well, anyways, we're going to be doing that. Nobody likes that show anymore, but I feel this weird responsibility to continue talking about it.
We're a support
group.
We're a support group for that show.
It's like a support group. I don't know exactly what form it will take other than audio on the internet, but we'll figure something out. And we're just going to cover the rest of the Walking Dead TV shows as they go forward. So that's the plan. Yeah.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah, we're not stopping. You're going to have to pry this podcast out of my cold, dead hands. The way I figure it is we will podcast until either Chris, myself, or the Walking Dead universe dies.
Well, I would ask if one of you dies, the other one goes solo until you die.
Well, all right. Here's the problem with that. We mentioned this I don't know if we mentioned it on our podcast, but if Chris died suddenly, I would have no idea how to contact anybody to let them know. So we're going to have to come up with a contingency plan so at least I can let the listeners and other people know.
You better write down how to do a podcast, Chris.
Yeah.
So I'll write a couple bullet points and a password, and that's all you need.
There's services on the internet that will basically, if you don't reply to them within a certain time frame, they'll mass email, you have died and this is what you should do. We got to get one of those.
So forgetful that would not go well for me.
Every 3 months. Oh
shit! I died again.
Dead again.
Sorry, Mom. No, I'm fine.
I'm just forgetful.
Yeah, we're living on the edge here.
That got really dark, but I kind of love it.
Yeah.
But I also want to reiterate that Chris is joining Richard and me for The Mandalorian Season 3, which premieres on Disney Plus on March 1st, and we'll have that on our Star Wars TV cast, which you can find at podcastica.com. And I hope to see Jason on there for at least an episode. That would be awesome.
Looking forward to that. Totally.
Amazing.
All right. We'll say goodbye to Chris and Jason, but we'll be back with some other stuff. So stick around. All right, we are back. It's time for listener moans, groans, and grunts. Before you start, I just want to say that was incredible. It's the next day for us, actually.
Yeah.
And I've been just reflecting on how awesome that was. That was really fun.
It was like surprisingly emotional. If you haven't listened to the Talking Dead bit of it yet, it gets emotional at the end.
Right.
It gets deep.
Yeah. And it was just a pleasure. And, when I was getting ready for this one, I was putting my notes together, and it was one of those where I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm throwing this together. And then once we got on, I thought it was a really good discussion of the final season and a great sort of capper to all of our crossovers and everything. I don't know. Maybe I'm patting myself on the back a little bit.
No, I think you're right.
It was just great.
I mean, I hope this isn't offensive to Chris and Jason, but I haven't been listening to The Talking Dead in a long time, just because by the time we've watched the episode twice and recorded our own podcast and checked it over, like, there's just no time. So
it's enough Walking Dead too for me. It's like
exactly, and it felt really fresh to be talking about it and kind of hearing for the first time what they thought. So I thought that added a really nice kind of feel to it. And Jason M always cracks me up. He's fantastic.
Yes,
I mean, Chris is our brother. We love him, but
yeah.
Jason, we see him less often, and oh my god, he's hilarious. I love him.
Yeah. So I mean, we didn't say let's do more crossovers for the Negan show or anything. I don't know, but at some point we will. I mean, I'm working with Chris on Mandalorian, and I hope to get Jason on there. But we'll have to maybe we can do some other collab at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Just reunions.
Great, yeah.
Just reunions. We can reboot.
All right, let's get into the feedback.
Amazing. So first up, we've got Diana Driscoll, who says, there were a lot of great moments in this final season. Loved Ezekiel's arc, loved Gabriel's redemption in the end, Hornsby was great, etc. Yes, I agree. There was so much that I liked and loved about this final season, but the announcement of all the spin-offs took all of the drama out of the end. The writers did great and the actors always do a great job. I just feel like it didn't have that sort of electric crackle of tension that runs through the series. It just never felt like anyone was in danger. Shrug. Diana, we speak about this. Well, yeah. Ask Rosita. But yeah, we speak about this over on Talking Dead. I think that's something that we spoke about a lot, was the spin-off announcements, and I think you'll find a lot of agreement with what you're saying there.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, Diana also has a Walking Dead podcast. It's called Aim for the Head. So
amazing.
If listening to us isn't enough, you should definitely go check her out.
Oh.
Alma Contreras says it's an end of an era, that's for sure. As far as the last season, it was pretty good. The only thing I found was a waste of time was the whole Reaper storyline. Yes. The only good thing that came out of that storyline is that it showed Maggie's evolvement into a stone cold killer. Probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole 24 final episodes was when Maggie finished off the Reapers. Oof, that scene left me speechless. Me too, man. Same thing. I'm right on board with Alma here. I too wish that they had held off on announcing the spin-offs. I think us not knowing anything would have definitely heightened the intensity of the story. Although I was expecting a lot more character deaths, the ones we did get were emotional for me. In the end, I was satisfied with the wrap-up. I look forward to checking out where the spin-offs go and tuning into the podcast. Thanks again to all you guys that spend so much time putting the time to bring us great content. I'm so glad I was fortunate to meet you guys. Love y'all. Well, same here.
Oh, we love you, Alma.
Yeah.
You have the best hair. Purple hair. It's so shallow. I'm like, you're a wonderful person, but also your hair is amazing. Nate Piccini, whose hair status to me is unknown, so I can't comment, Nate, sorry, said, I thought the first half was a bit underwhelming. It was clear that they didn't realize they were set to wrap up the show until they had started writing. Oh, Nate, yes, I agree. I don't think they spent enough time in the Commonwealth overall. I think there was more to do there. The second half of the season mostly hit all the right beats, but as is typical, it felt like they had a lot to wrap up in the finale, but as you've already covered, they pulled it off. I still think Andy and Denai's departure hurt the show, and don't think they would have left if they'd known it was coming to an end after 11. You know, I've wondered about that as well, Nate.
I know.
I'll miss the flagship show, but we have lots to look forward to. Don't get bit. We won't, Nate.
That's a great ending to the final listener comment on The Walking Dead.
Don't get bit.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, I mean, if Andrew Lincoln was telling the truth, not to cast any dispersions on Andrew Lincoln. In fact, because it is Andrew Lincoln, I think it is more likely that he told his publicist, yeah, tell them exactly why I'm leaving. But anyway, what he said was, I think he wanted to spend more time with his kids, and they were getting to an age where he wanted them to be at home in England. And so that's a crucial, kids, they just zip by and all of a sudden they're adults. So maybe even if he had known, you know what, there's only 3 more years left on his show, he would have still been like, well, these are 3 important years for my kids, who knows.
I believe I think I've read, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm sure I read that he did his audition for Rick while one of his kids was newborn, and he thinks that's why he got it, because he was so sleep deprived and messy looking that he came in just a wreck, and afterwards he's like, oh, that'll be why. So those you're right, those kids must have been about 7. That kid.
So from that point on, he always went to bed at midnight and woke up at 3 a.m. just so he could play Rick Grimes.
Andrew Lincoln said he was leaving the role of Rick to get some fucking sleep. For once.
And here we only have one call this week. It's Kara from Texas.
Oh.
Hey guys, it's Kara in Texas. I just finished watching the finale for, I think the 4th time, and I felt compelled to call in. I hope I'm not too late to leave a little feedback, but I thought it was pretty beautifully done for what they had to work with. And I really loved Angela Kang and how she's treated these characters and their storylines so thoughtfully over the years. And I was pretty satisfied with how they wrapped it up. That's my alarm running out of battery. Please ignore that. But I did want to call in and also profusely thank you guys for showing up over the years and keeping us entertained, but also being real and raw and honest at times. Jason, Karen, Lucy, anybody who's ever been a guest host on The Walking Dead, just thank you guys so much. You've been, responsible for getting me through some pretty big milestones in my life and pretty difficult times in terms of stress relief. When I first found the show, I think I started listening episode 3 back in season 1. Wow. And I was in law school when I started. You guys got me through finals, studying for the bar exam, the stress of planning a wedding, and now, unfortunately, the stress of coping with my divorce. You guys have honestly had a bigger impact than I think you can ever know on so many of us. Some of the roughest jury trials I've had in my career were made just a bit better because I had the comfort of listening to Walking Dead cast. So thank you guys. I can't wait to keep listening as you guys cover The Last of Us and any of the spinoffs. And I hope you know how much this community you've built means to so much of us. Love you guys. Thanks.
Damn it, Kara. I'm feeling emotional about all this right now, and you're making me cry.
I'm not emotionally ready for this. Even though it's been like 6 weeks of finishing off, I'm still not emotionally ready. Kara, right. You're amazing. Amazing. All those things, and you're still standing. That's incredible, girl. Well done. I mean, we may have helped, but you did that. You did that too, so congratulate yourself. You deserve it.
Thanks, Kara. Kara has been a listener for a long time and just kind of submitting comments every once in a while. And man, that was a great last one. I'm glad you called in, and that was a very fitting final voicemail for The Walking Dead until the spinoffs. But thank you so much.
Next week.
And,
thank
it's
you,
good to
Kara.
have you as a listener. Okay, we're doing something new here. It's a segment we call Zombie Poetry and Prose by Artificial Intelligence. Have you heard about, you have this chat GPT
I've heard from
thing.
you about your new friend. Yeah, ChatGPT.
Yeah. There's this thing called ChatGPT. It's an artificial intelligence from this group called OpenAI, and they're just kind of doing a beta test with it, and they're trying to help train it, I think. And if you go to the site and register, you can ask it any question, and it will answer. And I have even been asking it therapeutic questions, and it actually gives really thoughtful answers. And then because so many people are finding out about it now, because there was an episode of the Daily Podcast about it, sometimes it's overloaded, and I'm like, but I need some help.
My friend
abandoned me, but I was going to ask about abandonment issues. No, I'm just kidding. So it's crazy. Here, I'll give you some examples of what I asked, like write a haiku about a sad zombie. I did 3 of these. Okay. A sad zombie wanders. That's all I put. Write a haiku about a sad zombie. A sad zombie wanders through the desolate streets alone, searching for the life.
Wow.
A sad zombie walks in a world that no longer cares, forever alone. And my favorite, lonely zombie roams in search of living flesh to eat, but finds only pain.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy that an AI did that?
That's
it didn't get the
amazing.
right number of syllables, but still pretty cool.
That's incredible.
Okay, now I said write a limerick about a happy zombie. It says, there once was a zombie so jolly, he loved to walk and not be so lonely. He roamed through the town with a frown upside down, no longer feeling so unholy.
All right.
And then I wanted to challenge it more and more, so I said, write a poem about a zombie that falls in love with a chicken.
Okay.
It's a 4-stanza poem. It's spit out in about 15 seconds or less.
Amazing.
In the land of the undead, there lived a zombie, it is said. He wandered the earth in search of new birth, but found love in a chicken instead. The chicken, a plump and lively bird, was the zombie's one true love, it occurred. He couldn't resist her feathers and twist, so he fell in love with the bird. Together they roamed hand in claw, a most unlikely pair without flaw. The chicken sang sweet as they walked the street, and the zombie's heart began to thaw. Who could have predicted this strange love affair? A zombie and chicken, it's beyond compare. But in their own way, they made it okay to love who you love without a care.
I love that. That's so
Right?
cute.
It becomes this affirming thing for
Aww.
you can love whoever you want.
That's really wonderful.
Okay, I got two more. This one is write a story about a zombie who starts a podcast.
Excellent.
It was a dark and stormy night when the zombie first had the idea to start a podcast. He'd been
Straight out the gate here.
Right. He had been, there's not much development. He had been wandering the earth for what felt like an eternity, searching for brains to eat with and a place to call home. But as the years went by, he had grown tired of the same old routine. He yearned for something more, something that would allow him to connect with others and share his thoughts and feelings. This is really a metaphor for my own story.
I was like...
And so with nothing to lose, the zombie decided to start a podcast. He called it The Zombie Chronicles and dedicated it to exploring the life and times of the undead. Each week, he would invite a different guest, whether they were a fellow zombie, a human survivor, or something in between, to discuss a variety of topics related to the zombie experience. As it turned out, the Zombies podcast was a huge success. People all over the world tuned in to hear his unique perspective on the world and the challenges faced by the undead. Some even wrote in to share their own stories and experiences, and the zombie was thrilled to hear from them. Through his podcast, the zombie discovered a new sense of purpose and community. He'd finally found a place where he belonged, and he was grateful for the opportunity to connect with others in a meaningful way. And as the years went by, he continued to share his thoughts and experiences on his podcast, grateful for the chance to share his story with the world.
That's so nice. I like that.
It's crazy, man.
I love that. They should do that. The zombie should, any zombies listening, you should do your own podcast.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
You can ask people to call in with their people sounds.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, I'm a person.
Okay. Now, the one last thing, it wasn't my idea, it was Tej's. He saw that I was posting these in the group, and he likes Chat GPT too, so he had a full-on conversation with it. He asked, how would The Walking Dead have been different if Shane killed Rick and was the leader? It says, if Shane had killed Rick and become the leader of the group, the show would have likely gone in a very different direction. The group would have likely been more focused on survival and protecting themselves from the dangers of the zombie apocalypse. Shane would have likely been more aggressive in his leadership, taking a more authoritarian stance and making decisions without consulting the group. He may have also been more likely to take risks and make decisions that could have had serious consequences for the group. Additionally, the relationships between the characters would have been drastically different. Shane and Laurie's relationship would have been very different, and Shane's relationship with the other characters would have been strained due to his more authoritarian approach. It's a little vague, but it still seems like plausible.
Yeah, not wrong.
So then Tej said, in this scenario, would Shane have defeated the governor? ChatGPT responds, It's impossible to say it is certain, but it is likely that Shane would have had difficulty defeating the governor. Shane would have lacked the leadership and tactical skills that Rick had, and he may not have been able to bring the group together to effectively counter the governor's forces. Additionally, the governor was a formidable enemy with a great deal of resources at his disposal, so it would have been difficult for Shane to outmaneuver him.
Interesting.
And then one more, he asked one more question. Assuming Shane did defeat the governor, how would Shane have handled Negan? He says, if Shane had defeated the governor, he would have likely been more prepared to handle Negan and his saviors. Shane would have likely taken a more aggressive stance against Negan, attempting to take him out rather than attempting to negotiate with him. Shane would have likely been more willing to take risks in order to defeat Negan, and he would have likely used a combination of tactics and strategies to try to defeat Negan.
Interesting. Okay.
So he would have failed against the governor, but defeated Negan. I could actually see that. I don't know.
I feel like Negan and Shane had more. I feel like the governor operated from his head.
Yes.
And Negan operates from his heart and gut, and I feel like that's maybe more Shane than the governor.
Right, on his level, so maybe they could understand each other a little bit. Yeah. I mean, anyway, I thought that was pretty fun.
That's great. I really like that.
If you guys want to try that thing out, it's open to anyone, and I'll put a link in the show notes for it. You can ask it non-zombie questions too.
Although it's suddenly just got a lot smarter about zombies, so because we've been asking it so much, it's great.
All right, that is our show, episode 498. Thanks so much for listening, everybody, and a big thanks to Chris and Jason, of course.
Yeah, it was so good to have them.
Mm-hmm. And again, you can hear the second half of our season 11 wrap-up countdown on the Talking Dead podcast at talkingdeadpodcast.com. A few other things I want to mention here. There wasn't much news this week, so we didn't have a news segment, but there was one thing that Walking Dead season 11 is going to premiere sometime on Netflix. Wait, it's going to premiere on Netflix sometime in January next month.
Okay.
And I want to talk about what's going forward. We mentioned this last episode, but the next episode of this podcast, 499, will be an introduction to The Last of Us, which is the HBO series we're going to be covering next. And it's based on the hit PlayStation games. That show starts mid-January, so we're doing this one sort of introductory episode first. And we're going to tell you... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if anyone's listening who hasn't played the game, I'll be part of the Last of Us podcast. I won't be on every week, but I too have not played the game, so I will be the resident dummy. So I'll be doing that journey along with you. So if you're feeling hesitant because you're like, I've not played it, I don't know what to expect. One, I've sent them all a heap of beginner questions for the podcast this week, and two, I'll be right there with you, so let's do it together. I think it will be fun. So don't be afraid, come with us as we embark upon this new and exciting journey.
Yeah, and this really, it's not like the Game of Thrones, where the books are so complicated and deep and dense. The game has a very established backstory, with a lot of different parts, but the central story is very simple. It's really, hopefully this isn't giving too much away, but it's about two characters. Really. There's other characters, but it's really about these two. So I have a really strong feeling that you absolutely will not need to have played the games at all to appreciate this. I mean, the game is like a movie itself, but anyway, if I've said this probably too many times, but if the show is anywhere as near as good as the game, it's going to be awesome, because this is one of my top 3 games ever, if not my favorite one. It's just so cinematic. But I really don't think people are going to be like, people will watch the show and who don't even know there's a game, and if it's as good as the game, they're just going to love it,
Exactly.
But we will be talking about our perspective from game players and non-game players too, for sure, like we always do. So, and next time we're going to talk about what we love about the games in a mildly spoilery fashion, but we'll try not to spoil too much. And then we'll have a segment where maybe we go into more detail, but we'll warn you first. And we'll also talk about all the information that's come out about the TV show so far. And so if you want to write in or leave us a message about The Last of Us for that podcast that's coming up, it's coming up pretty soon. We're recording pretty soon. But anyway, you can find all our contact information at podcastico.com, or you can always just write to us at talk@podcastico.com.
Yeah.
going forward, starting with episode 500, this will be, the Walking Dead cast will be rebranded as The Cast of Us with new podcast art. And we'll be covering The Last of Us, which runs from mid-January through mid-March. That's, as Lucy just mentioned, that's going to be us two, plus Ben and Rima of Strange Indeed, and the return of Mr. Blog. For some of you longtime fans, you'll know Mr. Blog, aka Eric. And this here episode that we're recording right now may be the last episode with just me and you for a while.
It might indeed.
And I'm sad about that because
it's
been a blast.
It's been the best.
And we really have a flow and a vibe going, and now we're shaking it up. And so
we're breaking up, man. The band's breaking up.
We're just taking a break.
We're just taking a break. We'll be back, okay? We'll
we're
work
bringing
it out.
in some more partners and seeing how that spices things
We're
up.
opening it up.
Yeah. But I really want to get back to just you and me, maybe during the breaks with some standalone episodes, or with the Daryl Dixon or Rick and Michonne show.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I want to do.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So for people listening, it's going to be a little different. We're going to have more voices, but then, it'll just be me and Lucy with other stuff down the line. So Dead City, the Maggie Negan spinoff, premieres in April, and that's the 6-episode first season. And because it's all about Negan and we want to break from Negan, Ben's going to be covering that with different co-hosts, and we'll be on, for 1 or 2 episodes, but that's going to be it. And then later this year, we'll have the Daryl Dixon show and the Rick and Michonne show. We don't really know when. That'll be me and Lucy. We won't be covering Fear on this podcast, but we might do the roundtable rants.